He got me right out of the gate. He got me. Yeah, but we're back here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, youtube.com/Mr. OVW to you, sir. And, we're rising on the charts here. Number 27 with a bullet still can't make the PWI 500, but it's Benny with the 1-2 checker. Ted's in the back in MSG. He's the wrecker, and we're about to get at it. Impact, attack, wreck, and shop. Here today, it's bound for glory, hell or high water. See you later, mortgage baiter. Yalla! Yeah, man. Yes, sir. Hot new merch. He's breaking it out. We had to increase the sexiness on this show. There's going to be a lot of heat I got feeling today, so we needed some sexy, some zen. So MSG's got that hot Chris Silvio shirt on right now. Super jealous. I'm rocking the PWT to represent for all of us, so hit all our stores up. But looking good, fresh, and so clean. It's MSG. He's bound for bed soon enough. He's been up all night long.
Well, I felt like last night's edition of Impact Wrestling might have made me a little bit bound for bed. But hopefully they can, find the glory this upcoming weekend on their pay-per-view. But yeah, we're back, guys. Another edition of the Impact Attack. I'm your host, co-host Matthew Schaffer. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Matthew_Schaffer. I'm excited to be back here with you, gentlemen. Yes, I got this fine limited edition Chris Silvio t-shirt when he was doing his fundraiser a couple months back. So I had moved, so I just waited for him to ship it to me, and he shipped it out to me. And it's fine quality cotton. It feels good on my body. And I can walk around with Chris Silvio's face, so it's only going to increase my sexiness, right? I mean, right here, this is like a facade now. I feel like
it draws
attention.
It draws tension away from your face, and that's what you really want to do. That's going to get you a lot farther when people aren't looking at your face. They can look at Chris Silvio, and your push is only going to increase.
Well, to play on that even further, it's like, how guys get drunk goggles. Well, now girls, they can get drunk goggles, and I'm helping them.
You just got to date really short girls, so they're looking right at Silvio, and they won't even know. They won't even get past. They won't even get past that right there.
Yeah.
I mean? So
these are all good points. Well, I figured we'd start off a little bit happy just to get it out of the way, because our gentleman here is not happy. Not happy, Ted. Why aren't you happy, sir?
Are you happy? Is this cameraman happy? Is anybody in this world happy? Do you watch the news? When you're on social media, is anybody happy? You know who's not happy? EC3 is not going to be happy after Bound for Glory.
You heard it. You heard it here, MSG. I am not happy. Moose isn't happy. We aren't happy. The whole motherfucking world's not happy, you son of a bitch. MSG, what the fuck?
Sorry, sir.
You can't disagree with any of that logic. I mean, it all checks out. And now I'm not happy about it.
Come on, man. Come on.
Sorry.
That's a start. That's a start.
That is. I
think he's not happy about it. Good. Go ahead and tell us the first news story, MSG, because I'm going to tell you right now, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm not going to be happy about it.
Oh, boy. Well, let's see. So former NBA referee Tim Donaghy, who was sentenced to 15 months in prison back in 2008 due to his involvement in a gambling scandal back then, he's set to make his professional wrestling debut as a referee for MLW. Thoughts on MLW capitalizing on a really good, corrupt, dirty ref?
That's interesting, bro. I like it. What's the one dude who's kind of coming up on the indies? He's a pretty big name. He's kind of like a roughneck dude, but he did like a bank robbery and like stole $3,000 and took his girlfriend to Vegas or some shit. Jesus. And that turned himself in. Like when he came back, I can't think of his fucking name. He cuts a hell of a promo.
He was a wrestler or a referee?
He looks like he'd be a Briscoe brother, but he ain't. He cuts he's a wrestler. God damn it. Help me out in chat room here this morning at Impact Attack, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. I can't think of his name. He's damn good. He was booked for the 2CW show.
Does he just work around the Northeast?
He does. Yeah, I think he works all over.
Okay.
I can't think of his fucking name. But still, to get back, if they capitalize off that, did MLW put that story out?
No, that was Pro Wrestling Guru who just broke this on Facebook. I saw it last night.
It'd be well, I mean,
Let's be also honest.
go ahead.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. When a news story comes out on a news site, it doesn't necessarily mean that the source didn't leak it, because Paul Heyman did that since the 90s. You know what I mean? So
He's been doing it since yesterday.
Yeah.
as early as probably as right now. Paul Heyman might have leaked that.
Yeah, I mean, I checked Court Bowers and MLW's timeline, so I didn't see an official announcement. Maybe they're waiting for that shock and awe on the debut. I think they're set to go head to head now with AEW on Wednesday nights.
They got Alex Greenfeld over there now too. They got Alex Greenfeld. They picked him up, and he was cool to me the time we met and online talking. And I think that's Court's old, like one of his writing partners too. Yep. So those guys probably got a lot of ideas, and that'd be some cool creative to just be a fly on the wall for, to see how those dudes operate. You know.
No, I can't disagree. Not so happy, Ted. Are you happy for this opportunity for maybe MLW to strike up a conversation when it comes to controversial referees, or are you just not happy all around?
I mean, I'm just not happy in general, so I can't say I'm happy about this, but I can say that I am appreciative of something different being done, and I'm interested to see how it kind of works out down the line.
I can't disagree. I thought it was interesting. I remember, I think I was like 20 at this point. So like I was probably heavily into sports. So this was a big story at the time.
Nick Gage, is that the fucking dude's name?
I typed that into Google too, but I didn't know if it was Nick Gage. I didn't want to just be like, I
think I might have broke kayfabe on that story, but whatever. I don't know if that's known or not.
No, I think it's known. I mean, if you can Google it,
then
it's
if
not.
It's on Google.
Kayfabe.
That dude cuts a hell of a promo. Might be worth putting them two guys together. You know what I mean?
He does a lot of those hardcore death match stuffs, right? He's one of those guys too. Like he does blood sport.
But he's one of those guys.
He's one of those types.
One of those types of wrestlers.
I see.
That being said, yeah, so we can move on for now. I mean, I just thought that was an interesting story that MLW tried to, trying to get a little bit of controversy going. Here's a good one that happened 7 hours ago. Stephanie McMahon tweeted out, "So proud of the WWE community team and all their hard work to make WWE the 2020 Corporation of the Year at this year's PR News CSR and Nonprofit Awards. WWE's mission is to put smiles on faces, and it could not be done without the hard work and passion of this incredible team." Jake Hager responded and said, "LMAO, I guess lying about over $37 million in quarterly profits so you can fire over 300 people during a pandemic is a category for an award. Emoji at Andrew Young." So that was the conversation they had online. So I guess some of the we're 2020, man. It's interesting to see that the talents are just not. They're in a I don't give a fuck mode anymore.
Well, it's war, bro. That's a guy who can step up. He just got signed for Bellator 250.
That's true.
Credibility is not questionable. He's a dude. Beast and I came up with him as Jake Hager, the Hagermeister, Dr. Death. You should have seen Dr. Death and fucking Robert Gibson and them like salivating over him, dude. Like it was like JR made the call. He went to OVW, learns the basics. Then they bring those guys in and they just pushed him right into like, here's you, bro. And then they put him with Dutch Mantel. Are you kidding me? This guy's fucking mind is like a steel trap, bro. And wrestling is second, like since he was 6 years old. And that's like you getting up and fucking taking a leak in the morning. It's just going to happen for like, he's so natural at it now, bro. And what the fuck does he have to lose at this point in his career? Like not go back there to do what? Shitty business when he's got other opportunities and he is where he is. He knows he's a stud. He's got super hot wife. His life's figured out, man.
I don't know. I just feel like it's interesting society-wise that we have to go on Twitter now to have these type of outbursts and conversations or shots just to get attention. Over.
Like
I know it's just interesting.
Khan can't come in. He might be the perfect guy to do it. Khan can't come in and do that and look at it like a CEO. even though Hager's playing, the only thing I disagree with is Hager's been playing big silent and like fucking I'll fuck you up, right?
At least he's
And
ready
here
to
he
come
is
out.
selling kind of. I don't know if I like it, but at least it's a fucking strong wow in the face of some marketing bullshit. Put yourself over. And then he's like, yeah, what about the 300 people who are laid the fuck off, right? You know, so, or fired or whatever. Like, it's war out here, bro. Like, that's one of the first real shots I've seen fired, except for Jericho doing some stuff like kicking Finn Balor and them, you know what I mean? So, and Yin Yang Twins was just on Jericho. Somebody sent me that. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm sure the dude asked for an autograph at the end or some shit too.
All right, not so happy, Ted. Are you?
I'm not happy about that car horn in the background.
You can hear it? Damn.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that. We the people, and Jake Hager, Jack Swagger lives the gimmick apparently, as he calls out WWE. I'm inclined to agree with you, Ben. Whenever you put over someone or retweet it or whatever, you're putting them over essentially. Even when you're putting them down, you're still giving them limelight. That being said, on the other side of the equation, I think, as we move forward in this new age, companies, I think, are going to have to, understand that when they put stuff out there to try to present them in a way that they're altruistic and they actually aren't, then people that perhaps have worked for them in the past might come out of the woodwork and let the world know that it's simply not true. And so that's where I think companies are more going to have to either truly be good to their employees or they're going to get called out for it. And so to that end, if anything, it's also, I think it was, even though for him, maybe not the best business move as far as, he's been staying silent and that's a good time to kind of rebrand and everything. And then he's coming off as just being another one of the many anti WWEers that seem to come out when they get released. That being said, he picked his spot well, and it was something that I think probably a lot of people were thinking and wanted to say. And so Jack Swagger, always being one of the boys, I think felt that was the time for him to step up and say something. And so I can't necessarily fault him for that.
See, I guess my concern is that we're slowly getting there, if we're not already there, where corporations can start to make it part of the contractual agreement upon your employment, right? Where they can mitigate and monitor your social media. And I feel like people will take social media for granted in a sense where at any point in time, the switch could be flipped. And then you basically lose your voice there as well because you abused it, right? Because you didn't take into the consideration or the responsibility that when you're speaking online, that's still you talking. It doesn't give you the opportunity or ability to be something that you're not or something you don't represent. Not taking anything from Jake Hager. I'm just saying in general, the conversation. And I see a conglomerate of these type of outbursts or shots, or complaints or late night tweets. And I'm like, is that serving a better cause, or is that serving a better positive outcome for you or for anyone around us?
Wonderful postulate. Very well thought out. Let's play it out. WWE has to look corporate, branded, and bows to masters. Saudi masters, Fox masters, USA masters. There's Chris Masters.
They're not Chris Masters. He's
out. They want to do these ad age magazines, like you said, philanthropy things where they pat themselves on the back and pay for these awards only so they can get tweets out like this so she can look like a CFO and put it over of like whatever metric. That's just stunting for my daddy, like the rest of the corporate companies they want to be like. Meanwhile, they're still the same carny circus pulling mad evil every day behind the scenes on their own people. Now here's AEW run by a young dude who can't keep himself off social media most of the time either, and knows the power of it, and his fan base that is his core audience is completely plugged in. If you were to look at AEW's numbers of 750,000, I'd say how many of them are plugged in on a house using internet or a smart device. I'd say probably 16 hours a day they are plugged in. So that's an opportunity. While you're trying to lock down the other, we got to go back. Paul Heyman, ECW. What are they doing that or not doing that we can, and we'll make that our own. So if they're going to sit there dummied and they know they got a lot of skeletons in the closet and Jericho can kick them and Hager can kick them and there's no firing back, Sun Tzu would love that shit. And I mean, that's some straight art of war, gaining the high ground. So I think maybe him not storyline wise, but overall business arcing wise, this could be the way to go forward. Just keep putting a beating on them, just putting a shellacking on every little thing that they indiscretion or skeleton that you can expose at the right time. We're seeing it every day in our media with going into the election with every day this week is going to be a Hunter Biden drop. There's going to be some fucking, you thought it was bad last week, wait till this week, we're a day out from the next thing. It's going to be all that. Why wouldn't you use that same strategy? Because the public is used to it. They're used to seeing people just now do salacious things and expose a bunch of bullshit. Might not be the worst thing ever, because then it could cross over into storyline for real. And now guys are shooting bang, bang. And that's CM Punk pipe bomb every week, must see TV. Right. So if they're going to keep going down that road and do that stuff, dude, that's like going punch me in the stomach. I won't do anything else back to you. And they can't do nothing, because if they do, then they're selling back. And now we're on 50-50 ground, and you want to lower them down to your area. You want to draw them out in a terrorist fight, right? They're a structured army. You have all this shit and booby traps that you can lay out for them, and they got to fucking mind it, because you're the one laying the groundwork for them just to fuck up. And you can set traps for them. It's a trap, as well, to fall right into. They'll back themselves into a corner and double speak, and then you can just retweet shit from 2 years ago where they said something completely different. It's interesting. I don't know if Jake Hager's the guy, but Jake Hager's the guy. I'd fight him.
Daniel Price brought up a good point in the YouTube chat. And so Jake Hager, Jack Swagger is a good choice, because I don't think necessarily has a mutual connection in the WWE, that being, a really close, maybe Cesaro, but I mean, I don't even think necessarily even him, but he brought up the point, like someone like a Rusev or Miro, someone that's romantically involved with someone on that brand, then can end up in a situation like, for instance, Lana getting put through the tables every week. One could assume that that's based off the shit that he's doing. But that's what I'm saying. You almost have to be careful if you have someone that you're really tied close with in the WWE and you choose to act out like that.
You call that out. You call that the next
that
war beast is calling it out. And you fucking go, you guys are real fucking tough putting a 115-pound blonde through a table every week as a fuck you to my boy over here. Boom. What are they going to say? Right. The internet blows up. They're not going to. They're either going to do it again and look bad. These are the traps I'm telling you right here. Like, this is how it's played in the office, right? They either do it again and look like cocksuckers, or they stop. And if they stop, they just sold for the fucking tweet. They're fucked either way. Welcome to professional wrestling, El Barone 101. Like that. This is how you do it, bro. And like, if you want to fucking fight a war, dude, I'm Tom Hagen, bro. Fucking, you want a wartime consigliere? I got strategy for days, Gimmick Con. Let's do this, man. I mean, you could get up every morning and go, how am I going to slap those tits today? If you wanted to. Yeah.
Shout out to Sun Tzu, by the way. You brought up The Art of War. I will say that is an incredible book if you have not read it. It's almost like a gentlemanly, professional way on how to approach going to war with another entity, whether it be a true war or corporate war. And
how you can use their other enemies against them and hide behind it and not expose yourself. And also how to retreat to bait people in, so you can come back and cut their throats and they never come back again. Like, if you know how to, some people like Machiavelli. I like Sun Tzu.
Yeah. We had to read it in high school. And I remember it really stuck with me. I even kept the book, and it's a great read if you ever get a chance to sit down. It's well worth knowing. Hope you never have to use those kind of tactics, but at the same time, it's always good to know them going into something like that.
You can use it in a variety of ways, not just business or murder. Well, I mean, that's what it is. It's about taking over, provinces in China. So, yeah. But yeah, dude, that's interesting. And Matt, you nailed it. But I wanted to play it out the other way and look where they could have them. They could have them in Checkmate almost every day. There, that feeling of like, oh shit, we got a powder, until Stephanie has to not put any of that stuff out. And then when she doesn't and she goes silent for 3 months, high-fiving him back. You know what I mean? Like, this is the Cold War CIA shit that goes down in the office of 2CW and OVW just to try and get you ready. To get you ready to fucking go up there and deal with them on that phone. Because believe me, they're playing at that same level. They absolutely are.
Well, since we don't cover AEW Dark really here because it's a YouTube related show, and there usually isn't anything notable. There was something notable on AEW Dark on this 6th edition. Eddie Kingston announced that Allie, aka the Bunny, was now a member of the stable. So he went on to say, ladies and gentlemen, the family is back together. Look who's back. It's the Bunny. Now that we're all together, everyone's going to pay. Of course, the Bunny was originally introduced to AEW as the valet of the Butcher and the Blade, her husband in real life, before she aligned herself with the Nightmare family.
Yeah, it was.
Soon enough, of course, she started accompanying QT Marshall during his matches and formed the tag team with Brandy Rhodes called the Nightmare Sisters. It also, I guess, goes on to say that joining Kingston's faction appears as Allie will no longer team up with Brandy. The Nightmare Sisters lost the Diamante and Ivelisse in the finals of the AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament in August. So the family's back together. It only took 5-6 months, Ben, but they finally put Allie back with her husband, so we can at least have some sort of reality.
I don't know, dude. There's something more here, way bigger that I don't know, because I just can't figure it out. Why
was she punished? Is that what you think, or somebody was punished? Either him or her.
I like them both, so I don't want to say these things out loud, but in a wrestling scumbag way, I got to be true to my audience. I think somebody was trying to drive a wedge between Pepper and Terry. Dude, like, that's the only thing I can think of is like, dude, I want to bang her. I don't know who it is. I don't know anything. I'm just hypothetical because I'm trying to war game this out creatively, where you go, we got them from the Indies and Impact, and they did the whole marriage thing. We saw it all, like, we know they're married. We brought them in as married. Now we're going to split them off to go with the Nightmare Collective. For what reason? And then we need girls for this weird little tournament we're going to try and do that we're not going to show. And they want to get over together because they're friends. None of this is what's called good business, or a business that's like has any roadmap and is well thought out on how to elevate them. And dude, Butcher and Blade had money on them, written on them from day one. And it took all the way until Eddie Kingston just came in to get them to like even be pulled up. Those guys were your original AEW creations that could be way up there right now. There's money on both of them. You know what I mean? Big money on Pepper, skill in his body. And the other guy looks like he's fucking right out of Saw 4 or some shit, bro. You know what I mean? Like, he's a bad motherfucker, but they put him under for so long. And then when they split Cherry off of him, or Allie or whatever, like, it makes them look less than too, right? Like, she's going in to do this and we're like, okay, we'll watch that, but we don't know why. And now put them back together. And she looked awesome as like the S&M kind of type chick with these dudes. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man, I wanted the best for these guys out of the gate, and it's kind of been effed up. And now, even though I like that they're back together, it's kind of like Band-Aid on a broken leg at this point. Like, they'll get over, but we're just going back and restarting at the beginning. This whole last year really meant nothing for them. I'm glad they signed and they got contracts, but we got to start from square one to rebuild them right now. Thankfully, they've been on a little bit of a tear as a tag team, and they're a little more credible than they were. But we got to find something really good for those guys on Light the Fuse review as well. We'll come up with some things.
Not Happy Ted, have you followed AEW at all in the last? I know you did the review, but have you really followed them as far as a company over the last year at all?
I'm not happy to admit that I do know who the Butcher and Blade are, and I did watch one episode of AEW, but I really don't know for any further context than that. So really all I can do is make an obscure reference to something completely unrelated. And that's, I think the Butcher and the Blade, after seeing last night, I'm on, going through a movie watching series. So the first time I watched Hellraiser, and Butcher and the Blade remind me of the Cenobites from that movie. So that was kind of cool. That's about all I can admit to. And
I worked a lot with him in 2CW Beast, and not the Butcher, because he's kind of the Buffalo property. He's a big rock star too. So doing that while we were wrestling. Now he gave all that up for wrestling. Good choice. They're just great people, man. Like that, they're the ones that you want to win. You know what I mean? When you see them do good, you just feel great at home. You're like, fuck yeah, I'm glad they did. When Brody does good, I feel like that. When Serena does good, like it's as much of a great feeling for us as it is for anybody when you see people like them from the locker room. That's why that whole year you're like, okay, we're going to start this. Oh no, we're stopping it. Okay, we're going to start this. Oh no, we're stopping it. Then this is happening. This is weird. And then, okay, that's done, but we're going to do it with these guys. Now we're back to square one. Oh, God damn it, dude. It makes me irate. Like you're wasting, not them, but they wasted a year of good creative time by not having a roadmap to get original talent over that way. And those guys, I would have put the straps on them, man. They're a gimmick. They can work, and they're original. And the thing you want to do is bring in WWE guys who are hot properties and have them do business for your own guys, because those guys are made guys in the fans' eyes coming over, jumping ship. And these guys are dudes off the indies. But if you put them over, it instantly raises their level in the fans' eyes that they beat fucking Rusev and Matt Cardona because they're a more unified tag team, even though those guys are WWE properties and haven't worked together. Who gives a fuck? That's a good win. That's doing business for Butcher and the Blade. That's how you elevate people.
What happened to Matt Cardona, huh? They only brought him in a couple times and then really didn't do anything.
Payday, bro. And I bet, they did a good brother payday thing. And then it's like, okay, politic if you can, survive if I let you. And, maybe they're waiting for Hawkins' stuff to be done. And can bring them back in together.
Unless they've signed him long term. I don't know.
That's always the trouble when a bunch of people get released at once. You can try to play up the pro card like you're worth more, but at the end of the day, a company can go, all right, we can invest our money in this other guy that also got released, and it's not going to ask for as much money.
I'm going to tell you who the best long-term program is that they could get at a solid price and get a lot of incredible work out of them, and guys who need the same fucking break, kinda, and that would give them that WWE talent. Who am I thinking of? Chat room? Who would be the best tag team you haven't seen to come in and do business and get over in a hardcore feud with Butcher and Blade, even though it's the attack?
The Elite, right? Me and Adam Revolver.
Yeah, you guys.
Awesome.
Ex-WWE.
Congo Kong and Ben Hamin.
I'm not known.
The Ascension.
Yep. The Ascension would be fucking perfect to come in there as badasses, be dark and all that, and those guys wear white and Butcher and shit, and now we're off to the races with some hardcore fucking molly-whopping on each other. Connor on the fucking Butcher and APOC on Pepper. Holy shit, bro. I could see that. And you could even put an apocalyptic chick to put that fucking who's the chick from Rocky Mountain Pro, Abaddon. Put Abaddon with them and have her chase Allie around and shit like that. Whip her across the face with a cat of nine tails. I'm in, bro. I'm in for all that. That's how, and you put Butcher and Blade over at the end of the day. That's how you get more out of them. In 2-3 months, you could have them elevated.
Oh, I'd also want to. I like the idea of including Abaddon. I almost feel like you can enhance her character. You could play this out even longer. Say maybe you have a character like Abaddon who starts to gravitate towards Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny or whoever, because she sees they're kind of like her in a way. They're weird, and then they reject her, and that causes her to
go with them.
Yeah, well, you could come with somebody that she's going to cast a spell or something that causes the Ascension to appear, and it's like, oh shit, and then that's when it comes up.
Exactly, that's good stuff too. You get the story out of it, the origin story, and these guys can come in as mythic characters from the dark side of her little world. I love that, Beast. Yeah. All that's good, and that gives us even more weeks. We just fatten it up for 4 weeks and getting it ready to go. You do the pursuit of them, then the shunning the next week, her fucking reaction, her doing a whole demonic seance type thing of whatever, and it starts to work. We cut, and then next week, out she comes with them week 5.
And then if you want to go full Hellraiser, she tells the Ascension she wants blood, and every time someone bleeds in a match, she becomes more and more beautiful, and she becomes whole over time. There you go.
I love this fucking guy, man. I fucking love this guy, dude.
Well, of course, guys, that's all the stories I've got before we get into the Impact Wrestling review. I just want to go ahead and put over the fact you can check out twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman's Night for another brand new episode of the Conspiracy Horseman. And I don't know if can you hear this? Is this loud enough or is this?
I'm gonna baby.
It's that fucking radiator, bro. Anyway, so I'm trying not to talk too much here.
Get you at the game room. They get you at the game room and the sexy chicks by poolside, but they didn't tell you at the Denver clanging and banging radiators, baby.
Well, I'm complaining every day, so like I'm just making sure they know. Otherwise, like it's going down. That being said, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman.
You know what I would do to fucking Ken Shamrock? What do you think I'll do to you if you don't fix this shit?
That's what I'm saying. Of course, you can also check out ZordosOliveOil.com. And you can also check out Dippin' Donuts if you're in the Rome Tri-Cities area of New York. I don't know if that's what you guys call it.
New York, if you want to, man, for sure. Come visit. The Brosters.com, 5 pound, bro. Bro, 5 pound code bag for the official Vince Russo Bro coffee. Want to say thank you. Definitely, you guys posting those selfies when it arrives. The big fat sack for the pandemic too. You're all set, ready to be caffeined up with the best coffee there is. It's not just a shill. Even if you want to just try the smaller bag, once you get it, you're gonna go, fuck, I wish I ordered the 5 pounder. And then you'll make your second order because it's that good. And then I actually there it is. Use the dark code bro 5 pounds, you guys. Official Vince Russo Bro coffee.
And you can see the best review on it. Apparently my video is still pinned to their profile. That's why it's gotten so many views. I was like, I didn't know it was over. I didn't know it was pinned there.
Mm-hmm.
So check out that review if you wanted a real good review. I do enjoy the Brosters Russo Bro coffee. Again, that's Bro 5LB. Guys, brand new episode of The Academy drops tomorrow. Episode 4 with Triple D and JDE. So if you're into Star Trek, it's now complete. And may the Force and live long and prosperous and be geeky as much as you want to be. I produce a bunch of shows. I'm getting things mixed up. Impact Wrestling here, guys. Let's get right into it. The first match of tonight's, conclusion up to the Bound for Glory, call your shot gauntlet. Who gets number 20? We got Heath versus Rhino versus Alicia Edwards versus Cousin Jake versus Hernandez in a fatal 5-way match. Victor in this match was Hernandez, as Rhino inadvertently laid out Edwards with the gore, and then Hernandez connected with the schoolboy roll-up to pick up the victory. So Hernandez, he's going on. He's calling his shot. Not so happy, Ted. Were you happy at all with the way this episode of Impact Wrestling started?
Well, I'm not happy with anything in life, but as far as this goes, I'll say when the match started, the first thing I was wondering is how the hell they're going to make the 5-way work with Alicia or whatever, however it is.
Alicia.
But I did think she's the gimmick of the match, so you almost have to address her first. And so I think Hernandez picking her up, putting her in the corner so they could brawl into their spots. I think that was a good choice. A choice I did not think that was so good was Alicia jumping from the top rope and taking out 3 men, all the combined weight of about 700 pounds or more. It just simply wasn't believable for me. The physics does not allow a 120-pound woman, if that, to take down 700 combined pounds of man unless she's jumping from a friggin' skyscraper. At least several stories up.
It should have caught her
and threw her.
You do it, and then Hernandez just throws her to the other guy. He catches her, and then he overhead beals her, and the other third dude catches her, and he just sets her down. That's the gymnastic spot you're doing, not some indie bullshit. Whoa, Alicia took out all those guys, dude. I agree fully on that. I like how they got into it with the corner bump. But I was thinking to myself back, Holiday Hell Tour 1997, Jamestown, New York. One of the snowiest nights and shows I'd ever been to in a small back gym, ECW. I was so pumped to go with my boys from Fredonia. And Al Snow worked Chastity. And Al fucking beat her ass. And she was getting some stuff in and the crazy stuff and the hair whipping around. She's on his back. But in the end, he fucking picked her up, gave her the fucking snow plow, and I came out of my seat. I go, holy shit, bro. It was probably safe as shit because it's Al. But I'd never seen no man on woman finisher like that live, where it was just like I thought it was going to be a gimmick match, and Al did work it how it is. But it wasn't some duck one, take myself out, roll up. She's got her feet on the ropes. 1, 2, 3, Al. What the fuck, you know? Al was like, fuck this. Boom. I kind of wanted Hernandez. When I saw that, I was like, please let him just say, fuck this, and just hit her with something nasty and lay her out right there. But extra points for Hernandez mustache. I mean, you got to put it over, bro. That was strong style.
All right, I'm going to let you guys talk about the next thing here. I got to call these people. Sorry.
Clanging and banging.
Let me pull up the I do have the TV report here. Let's see. So we talked about the 5-way match. Yeah, it was
Matt. Matt's on mute. Loves talking while he's muted. Can't get enough of talking. Oh, he's on the phone.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Talking to us. Yeah.
So then Josh and Madison hype up Bound for Glory and break down the show, talking about all the matches, and then they get a video package, or we get a video package, looking at the rivalry between Moose and EC3, which covers Moose's TNA World Title reign. Moose's interview's up next. Jimmy Jacobs is here with Moose in a wood-paneled room. It looks very rustic, very like a nice little restaurant, actually. But they're talking about Bound for Glory. Now, they're not talking about appetizer dessert spin. They're talking about Bound for Glory. And Jimmy Jacobs, as we heard earlier, as I showed you guys, asked if Moose was happy. And Moose, at first, was very unenthusiastic and be like, oh, yeah, I'm happy. You know, just kind of played it off, which I thought was good. And then that's when he got all fired up in the promo, be like, is anybody happy? And after Moose goes on a rant and says one person who won't be happy is EC3 at Bound for Glory, Moose storms off, and then a bunch of EC3, I guess, goons or lackeys or whatever you want to call them, show up and kidnap Jimmy, dragging him outside and putting him into a car. Ben, this is not looking good for Jimmy Jacobs.
Well, I mean, he kind of did it to himself. I've warned him week after week. His hair is too nice, and he dared show up with his hair freshly cut and styled, and I just couldn't have it. I said, hold my beer, we got kidnappings to do. And you know, I made it look like EC3 might have had him kidnapped, but really it was I needed to get some of that hair for myself. I'm gonna have his head shaved, and I'm gonna make myself a Jimmy Jacobs wig, and then we're gonna see who has the sexiest hair in wrestling again. So that was it. I'm tired of seeing Jimmy Jacobs' perfect hair, and it got to me, and I'm not afraid to say I snapped.
Well, Ben, we did see on the Monday locker room just 2 days ago that you almost called the shot. You said see more kidnappings in professional wrestling, and there you have it. They're listening. Yeah. Impact writers are listening to you, Ben.
Well, I mean, it's because I say that because Khan said you can't kidnap a professional wrestler. I said, oh, really? You know, like, you want to talk about that? Like, sure, it's cinematic and maybe not in the middle of the ring, but that's exactly what I've done 3-4 times now. And it's paid off every time, even on indie level or at OVW TV in an awesome way, and had my guys kidnapped in retribution by Rob Conway, and it worked. You know, so I'm the only one who's probably ever kidnapped Jessica Havoc, you know, and Serena, and then
yeah,
flip them and turn her heel. Like, that's an easy way.
We got to talk to Serena. She got kidnapped by you guys, and then she kind of got abducted a little bit by the Straight Edge Society. I mean, she kind of willingly did it, but we got to talk to her. She's got to stop letting herself get abducted as much.
Yeah, she's into cults and shit, bro. she'll be part of the Dark Order soon enough. That should be easier. But yeah, like, no, I completely disagree. Kidnappings work awesome. However, I suggest if you're going to do a kidnapping, especially not just for COVID safety and those reasons, even if you're sending stooges in, cover your face if you're doing a kidnapping, because it's a federal offense. And you don't want people to see your face, because later in court, they can identify you for kidnapping. In a time of COVID, that's the best time to do kidnappings. Your face is covered. They can't identify anybody. So come on, guys. Like, this was amateur hour. Is this your first kidnapping? Really? Come on.
Let me show you how to tie this rope.
Moose was goddamn great. I'll tell you that right now. That quick walk off, high emotion, the shoot that you played in the beginning, not too happy, Ted. I can see why it sent you into a full, fit of rage.
Well, not to mention, this was also probably the only way in the year 2020 that I could do a parody imitation of Moose and not get in trouble. So I had to pick my spot this week.
You did. You picked a good one. No, but this was after Moose been going around doing some comedy. This was a great, like, high level leave the scene, and then Jimmy Jacobs does his little joke like, we got 1 or 2 minutes, and then boom, those guys are right on it with the abduction. I thought that was good, dude. I thought the way this flowed in a minute, we got a lot done in a 1 minute scene pretty much right here. That was action adventure, sit down interview, payoff and emotion going into of where Moose's head's at into this weekend. I thought this was a good little, and then we come back with Jimmy and EC3, right? They take a break. We come right back. Is that what was next?
Let me see what was next.
I thought Johnny Bravo was upset.
They went back to the scene later.
Yeah. So Bravo.
They kind of sprinkled it out throughout the night, right?
Yeah. For a minute, I forgot. I forgot Fala's in there and Bravo's going off, which I really still kind of don't like, man. I gotta say, the magic is in the relationship of people relating together. It's hard to relate when you have an alpha character just screaming at the other ones and all they can do is react. I want to see the nerves of a wedding. I want to see all the buddies having a good time. Everybody's just getting yelled at by Bravo like it's a bad indie show and everybody's missing their times,
Although I will say you are correct, but I did really pop for the line when someone said, like, I think it was Cody Diener who says, I just want to kill that guy.
Yeah.
And then Swinger turns around and goes, like, his dad Dino or something like that. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. As he puts over the Dino Bravo shit. That was fucking strong.
That was
so good. I also popped when Fala goes down and he kisses the money roll in his shirt. But I forgot about the money roll. I thought he was kissing his own titty for a minute. I was like, what is he? I was like, oh, he's got the roll on the fucking chain gimmick before, but he was just under his shirt.
Yeah, but someone that just tuning in for the first time probably would have just thought.
Kissing his own titty out of nowhere. I was like, that's his gimmick now. I'm a self-titty sucker. That's what I do.
Stranger Sally puts over that he felt that this show felt a little rushed. I kind of agree with that. It kind of felt like everything was kind of just put together.
They had a lot of business to get in. It was like, we have Bound for Glory and we have all these pieces of business that need to get done, and we're going to get it all done in one night come hell or high water. And that's, unfortunately, sometimes you do have to pack a lot in the show, but you have to do it in a way to where it feels like everything has its own beat in its own time to really shine. And there were parts that I thought on the show did shine, but unfortunately, there were also, I think, a lot of opportunities to where it was too quickly done or too rushed to where it didn't get the proper spotlight on it. And that's sometimes the difficulty with a big go-home show like this is you don't want to leave any piece of business off the table.
I agree with that, too. And you pointed out 3 weeks ago, Beast, to have the 2 pay-per-views within 2 weeks of each other, you got to rebuild and make it feel rushed. You have to, build anticipation. So, and they had a lot of recaps and packages, and they're at the end of their probably taping of what they needed. So they were putting together the storyline. So you were seeing the whole EC3 thing. You were seeing, all of it repackaged for the wedding and the wrestle house if you missed all that. So going into Bound for Glory, if somebody was just going to watch it and hasn't watched for a long time, you were feeding them, I don't even know, 6 months of TV, and probably about 3 months of TV and one show in these packages and storylines to make things believable again. Were girls up next?
Well, they had the Rosemary Jessica Havoc. If Rosemary wins, Jessica Havoc will resurrect Father James Mitchell, and ultimately in this match,
well,
Rosemary
before that, we had the Deonna Purrazzo package. Yeah,
right. We did have the package. I mean, did you want to talk about the video package?
Just the only thing I would say is I feel like Deonna Purrazzo, as good as she is in the ring, she still has to figure out her character. And as much as I hate to admit it, because we saw a video package later with Kylie Ray, and as much as I hated to admit it, Kylie Ray got a far superior promo. And I think part of it is she knows who her character is. And Deonna, I think, still doesn't really quite know who she is as a character. And so I just thought that was kind of interesting seeing these two, and on YouTube they aired them back to back, and that's how I saw it originally. And I'm almost glad they separated these two, because when you watch it back to back, it's a stark difference as far as seeing just the character work by Deonna Purrazzo versus Kylie Rae.
Yeah, you're talking about 5,000 hours versus 10,000 hours.
True.
In just the amount that they worked. And it's not anything on Deonna, like she's lazy or nothing. She's only been in biz for 5 years pretty much, dude. And she's Damian Adams trained, which is Rip Rogers 101. And off of that and her youth and beauty and athleticism, she got signed. Damian's a marketing genius. He took her to all the indies. She wore Rip Rogers shirts. They got over off the Ferrari emblem with her merch wise, super smart. Got her signed. Too much, too fast, but she knows the WWE style. But that doesn't mean you know your shit and your character. Kylie Rae, been out in the Midwest, working all over, working crowds. Her style might be a little more indie and less camera friendly, tightened up, but she's really getting it a lot more in the last couple months, taking what would be spot show stuff that she's done for years and getting rid of that and saying, here's how my character is going to transition to a next level. I can still be fun and whatnot, but that promo she cut, there wasn't anything fun about it. That was serious Kylie Rae for the first time. And that is a great step up the ladder, because she can always go back down and have fun. But this was the seriousness, and her seriousness about the match put over the belt. It felt like Deonna was searching for a high level character. That stuff is only going to come when she is in her 30s, because it just takes time. You can't be 25 and go, I've got it all figured out. I'm the best. You don't know shit. And it comes through on camera, and it's not bad of like, she's not doing anything bad. It's just
right. Exactly.
The circumstance of how it is. You know what I mean? She looks phenomenal, and I liked how they were comparing, like, I'm like a champion. I think the messages were good. It's just tough to deliver that when you're so young, dude.
It's your experience. It goes a long way.
As I alluded to there at the conclusion of the other match here, the next match here, Father James Mitchell, he's going to be coming back, guys, because Rosemary, she picked up the victory after 2 spears.
I think he's coming back in your apartment right now through the radiator. It's fucking clang. Leave it on. I like that clang, and it makes me laugh.
It's pretty bad, man. I already called them, and the lady was all like, "What's the emergency?" I'm like, "The emergency is I'm fucking working right now, and there's a loud sound going on."
Yeah, you should bill them. You should for billable hours, and that'll get them to fix it. Like if it takes that,
I should, right?
Yeah, they said they couldn't use my audio, and it's $35 an hour, and we're on air for 2 hours, so you pretty much have to pay for what would be my time to do that. So either fix it, or I'd like to have my bill paid by the end of the month, or just knock it off my rent. I would fucking hit them with that every goddamn day. And you don't got to be a dick about it, because just going and leaving a fucking envelope on there, it says invoice for radiator. Eventually, you got to fucking play that Henry David Thoreau civil disobedience game, and satire is the most powerful fucking weapon in all of media. Fucking get them with it. If they're going to just try and blow it off where they're like, we'll keep taking rent, they're just going to fucking deal with the ding dongs.
Well, I've gone down there and had a conversation, so I feel like they are trying to fix it. It's just the HVAC system, I guess, is what they're trying to do, and it's either a newer system they just put in.
With corporate people like that.
I know, so do I. Good idea.
You're going to get mad when you can fucking get smart. We save the unhappiness for Dr. Ted. I thought this girls match with Rosemary and Jay Hab stole the show. Thought it was the best match on the show, in my opinion.
Yeah. If anything, this is one of those matches I felt like could have benefited from more time, but these girls are pros and still got the business in. And I mean, I don't even think this match went 5 minutes, but that being said, it's hard when you only have a short amount of time to get the business in. And these girls went in, got the business done, got it over, and made me interested to see the resurrection of James Mitchell at Bound for Glory.
I'm pumped to see him come back too, because they'll do something fun with it. I don't want to say nothing because it's my buddy's girl. Both these girls are sexy in their own way, and I am usually not into goth mythic shit. There's just something about how watching them mature into the performers they are from where I seen them come from, and now they're both working on their bodies, and they're both really polished to the point where if they came through the back, I would have very little to say except excellent job. I couldn't ask for more from both of you. Perfect amount of segment time, right where we need it, leading into doing business for the story to anticipate for the pre-tape. Now, go clean up and have a good fucking night. Be safe. Like, dude, they that was my favorite segment on the show, from how clean it was, how much simple ongoing storyline business it did, and set up perfectly for the payoff at the pay-per-view. It's going to be cool. I liked it.
Well, after that, we had our third match up here after we had a video package, but the video package was for the upcoming Motor City Machine Guns, Good Brothers, North, Ace Austin, and Madman Fulton Impact World Tag Team Championship match at Bound for Glory. Basically, every tag team imaginable that Impact Wrestling has is going to be in this match. Anyway, then we got our third match here. Eddie Edwards, once again, taking on Sami Callihan. This time he'll be accompanied, or I guess Ken Shamrock, the guy that I can take out with 20 guys. You know, he comes out later in this match as he kind of distracts Eddie Edwards, which allows what was it? I think Shamrock applied the ankle lock, and then Sami Callihan picked up the pinfall by victory or something like that after the roll up. So winner of this match, Sami Callihan, kind of saw this coming. Like, I mean, we kind of saw this was in the story.
Opposite of that, like this was predictable business, where the other is like, is he or isn't she? And even if it was going to be not with the James Mitchell stuff, you knew he was coming, and that would make it even more of like, oh, they took it away. How are they going to fix it? But like this, you know where the roadmap is. And I got to say that even if it's a corny detail, the hacker stuff, some type of mind control over Ken Shamrock. We really don't have a reason why Ken Shamrock is just the fucking attack dog for Sami Callihan.
Ted,
yeah,
any thoughts on this match?
On the match itself, I'll say I'm a big fan of Sami Callihan. I think he's a pro. He knows his shit. Eddie Edwards, I don't have a strong opinion either way. He sometimes buries stuff in the ring, but in this match, I personally felt the amount of disregard these two had for the sanctity of realism in regards to the moves being done and the physiological understanding of what the human body is capable of going through. That being having your neck, cervical spine driven into the mat and just kicking out on two. Every time I see it, I know I say it on other shows too, but it is every time it happens, it further deteriorates the ability to make people believe. And I know, at least in the case of Sami Callihan, that he's capable of better. And so I imagine he just got drugged down into it with Eddie Edwards wanting to do all the false finish stuff. But I'd hope Sami doesn't lower himself to those standards again, because I personally always hate to see that when you can't put over, simple things that would mean so much more if you just took the time to sell them properly.
I can't disagree with that, man. And I'll give a stooge too, because I don't want to say shit about Eddie or Sami, because I did see him do unbelievable things and great moments in 2CW, even together. But Sami is such a nice guy that I think he does get drug into these things. And I don't know if that's just Eddie wanting to do ROH stuff or New Japan stuff, but when it was Sami versus Mike Elgin, and they had worked all that heat coming off the Shamrock program on the knee, and Sami selling it, even going into the match and like falling down and shit and da-da-da-da. And then we get 3/4 of the way through, and it's back to Japanese wrong style back and forths and shoot him and do this, that, and the other. That's because Elgin wants to call that dumb shit, and he doesn't even realize where he fits in the greater story of Sami's heat and Sami's tie with Shamrock. We got to stop that to get this spot fest bullshit indie mark shit over and fuck all the work we just did. But then we're going to come back to the finish. And the excuse is, well, you got to let the other guy paint with his brush too. No, you don't. You don't. You need to stop. You need to let him paint. But if he goes outside of the lines of what we're trying to do, and whatnot, you got to draw him back in and be like, okay, man, I get that's what you do, but this isn't the right moment in my greater arcing storyline. And guys do that at the cost of, well, this guy told me I can't get my shit in, and fuck that, he's trying to bury me. And like, no, like, you need to open your eyes to say, I'm signed here. I'm in this show. And tonight, my part is to be a bit part player. And if that means I don't get my strong style shit in to keep myself strong, then so be it. Not the fact of if I got to get it in. Otherwise, they're going to think I'm a pussy. Dude, we see what you are. You're a fucking fire plug. No one wants to fucking take a shoulder block from you. The next match, I'm going to put you over strong against somebody to rebuild you right off of that. You just got to do good business. But nope. We got to let that dude come in and take a fucking Picasso and start painting over here fucking finger paints on it like a 5-year-old. And then we come in and finish off the fucking Picasso, dude. It's like that. And that is what happened in this match too, again. And it really needs to get cracked down on, not just an Impact, but by the boys, by the locker room and shit like that. And the guys who are the opponents. If we step to our match and our opponent, and I know that you're in the long-term storyline and I'm part of this and I got to go under, how can I facilitate it best? Let's step to it with that mind. How can I do my man beast business best because it's bigger than mine? You know what I mean? And if that means cutting back on something or me showing ass or whatever, then so be it, because I'm going to find a way to get my heat back. And if I don't know how, I'm not really that fucking pro of a pro, am I?
Well, it only took 20 minutes for the maintenance people to fix that sound, so I guess that's good for now. The next match we saw after that was, I guess, X Division ramifications, right? Kind of a little preview here as we see Rohit Raju, Chris Bay, and Jordan Grace versus Willie Mack, Trey Miguel, and TJ Perkins in a 6-man tag team match. Surprisingly, I was not expecting Miguel to pick up the victory here in this match.
Bro, this is a big mistake. Why would you have the heel who's been doing great with it go under right before the pay-per-view and do a title change on the show when he should have slipped over in a heel way on the fucking dude who had him beat for sure, except for that one thing. And then he goes to the back all pumped up. There's the more accountability, like looking at him. You know what I mean? He got over one more time. You're going to fucking face Trey Miguel at Bound for Glory. Announced right there. And Trey Miguel goes over on him in 2 minutes. That fast, right? And now Son is like, what? It's all about Hakeem Zayn losing it and we just did.
Right.
Impact's going to impact, bro.
It's going to impact. That's to be your t-shirt.
It kills me, man. I was like, how is he not going over right here?
Right. He should be going over strong. He's the champ.
Yeah, when the Rascals dude goes over just on the pre-show build to the go-home show to the pay-per-view. Kills me.
Wouldn't it have been even more interesting too if like I know that they were on the same team, which I thought was just a little peculiar. They should have had Jordan Grace and Rohit again on opposite sides if they're going to continue to build that and give the reason for Jordan Grace being in the match. Maybe Rohit then picks up the victory again, another pinfall over Jordan Grace after she's distracted or something like that, right? And then he scurries away as the heel.
Rohit's out. And I like where you're going because the Rohit for heat with her in there is him doing the Al Snow chastity, right? It's not early with her. We could have done the comedy with Eddie's wife with Alicia and set her down and not bumped her at all. And then we could have done all this, do the waterfall shotgun finish, whatever you want to say. Bay gets his shit in, boom, he gets his shit in, and then she feeds in. Rohit's the first one down. And then Big Mama Pump is able to steal it. Like, here's the moment where she's about to steal it. Rohit feeds in, gives her a code breaker, blind from behind. Holy shit, he hit the woman with the big impactful thing. 1, 2, feet on the ropes. 3, he slides the fuck out right to the fucking back, and you could have done it that way too. But him fucking over Trey Miguel would have been better business to pay off in a quick 2-minute shocker to give Rohit a big oh my god face moment on Bound for Glory. That's business 101. Beast, am I out of the park with that?
Well, I not necessarily. No, I like all that stuff. My guess though is maybe they aren't going into Bound for Glory getting ready to take the title off Rohit. But I think assuming that was the plan or that is the plan, then I think that the way you laid it out is the way to go. But my guess is based on this business is Rohit is going to go over at the pay-per-view and they're going to continue his title reign. He's
going to win it right back?
I think so.
Dude, I think that's a bad way to get, like, that's not getting heat. Now you're lowering. I mean, even if he goes over in a heel way to win it right back that dude's not a made enough baby face that people are going to go nuts to be like wanting retribution for that. If you're going to carry the heat, just let him keep building the heat until somebody fucking comes up with that he can't outsmart. You know what I mean?
So just for clarification purposes, Ted, are you saying you think that he's going to lose at the pay-per-view, but then immediately win it back like on a following taping or whatnot?
No, that he lost it here on this show and he's going to win it back on the pay-per-view.
I guess I missed it.
I didn't know he lost it. I thought it was a 6-man tag match. I thought it was just a 6-man
I
tag.
thought he lost the fucking title on the fucking, I thought it was like a scramble match.
No, it was a 6-man.
Oh shit. All right. I'm all fucked up then. I thought
he does still have the title. I had to look it up because I was confused. Yeah. Okay.
Never mind. Scratch all that.
Okay. Because I was like, I mean, this is great and everything.
I'm playing music, so I'm not listening to fucking commentary on the story. I just seen them all in there after they made the scramble the last week.
Right.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, oh, here they come. And then, there's whatever.
So after that, we had Rich Swann.
Great. Rohit Raju's great, and I would keep the heat on him at the end.
I keep the title on him.
That's it. I mean,
and that's why I think they gave him the loss here, so that way at the pay-per-view when he goes over, it's when it counts, he gets his heat. He knows how to retain that title by hook or by crook.
An L here. I don't think he should have taken an L here either.
I can see that. You keep the heat going, keep it building.
Yeah, that was when I asked what was the finish. Oh, fucking people were hitting me up. I remember. I got a cake.
Gaia Miller, she's interesting here with this backstage segment. It's something that I want to point out that I'm maybe I'm being nitpicky here, but as just someone who's done a little bit of interviewing and studied it, whatnot, I don't like when the interview person to the wrestler says, "Man, last week we saw the most vicious attack ever in Impact Wrestling."
Hold on, I'm just like, I got to sell again right here just because your voice is so sexy. I was looking at Silvio's face on the shirt. I was hearing the voice. Right. But dude, you want to talk about sexy in between? Last night, Brian Cage's girl, she hosts the Impact gimmick in the middle. What's her name?
I try not to remember.
Come on. Jesus Christ.
Brian Cage's wife.
Santos?
Santos, bro. Not unfortunately, because it does ruin it a little bit, but like their little girl would like come into the shot in the background. She's got one of those soft lighting rings, you can tell. Dude, that girl's natural beauty is, you can't even take your eyes off her. And she had gimmicks out last night, and she knows exactly what she's doing, bro. I can't believe her only spot in wrestling, maybe she wants to stay home and be a mom right now, is to host the Impact fucking watch along during commercials on Twitch. There's hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million written on her as a sexy valet, bro. She was everything last night. Like, it didn't even matter what was going on in Impact. We were waiting to go back and see her. She looked kind of like if the Mona Lisa came to life last night and was like a 2020 hot chick. It was crazy, bro. So I think somebody needs to do something to get Melissa Santos on AEW or even WWE. I think she could get a tryout and get signed based on how she was looking last night. And especially if we're going back to Attitude Era with hot chicks, dude, definitely.
They got rid of Renee Young. They need to keep that women's power movement going, right? So
I think she's better than
a hot chick.
I think
that's what I'm saying. Bringing a hot chick that's better than Ray Young. Well, getting back to the interview, I was just wanted to point out it kills the sense of disbelief when the interview person has to tell me that was the most vicious beating ever. Because then I'm like, no, it wasn't. I can think of lots of darker things, even in the old TNA days with Father James Mitchell, with the guy you're promoting who's coming back. But that being said, Rich Swann, Eric Young segment, Eric Young cuts his great promo here, and then Rich Swann comes in and attacks him. And that's how this brawl, if you will, comes to a conclusion as it closes up the segment. I can go through exactly everything he said as I have some notes here, but I figure you don't want to have me droll on with the promo. So not so happy, Ted. Were you happy with this segment?
Well, I'm not happy about anything. But in regards to the segment, though, I mean, it was a fine way to build towards the pay-per-view. I don't think it's necessarily as impactful as the stuff they've already done, but this was a way to kind of remind the audience and still give them, a up-to-date current situation in the brawl that happened. And I also learned that wood-paneled interview rooms are very dangerous places in Impact Wrestling, as apparently they're the most likely place you're going to get jumped or kidnapped. So if you're in a wood-paneled room and you're part of the Impact Wrestling roster, get the hell out, because
I was going to say, did you see Vin's room? It's wood paneling. It's scary. I've been there, and it's not favorable to me. Locked me in a cage.
Those were the bright wood paneling rooms. You don't want to be in the dark ones like these. These are the worst ones.
Not good. You guys see how clean my kitchen was there? It's pretty nice, right?
It was good.
Anyway, after that defense.
Heat Raju business. I wish I would have known that. I was just fucking getting hit up by too many people at the same time. I was like, what? Okay.
So here's the updated Impact Bound for Glory card. We've got Eric Young taking on Rich Swann for the championship. Peraza versus Kylie Ray for the Impact Championship. Motor City Machine Guns versus all those teams. The Bro Heat Raju match. EC3 versus Moose. Call Your Shot Gauntlet with Hernandez now being number 20. And Eddie Edwards versus Ken Shamrock with Callahan. So fifth match comes up next. We got the Good Brothers versus the North. They gave these guys some time. I think this match probably went about 10, 12 minutes here to end out the show. The match ended up breaking down, though, with everybody pretty much coming out and fighting, and it was a no contest. That's how it ended. So that's how pretty much Impact went off there. So at least they went off a little bit hot, right? In comparison to, for the pay-per-view, it
ended with the Good Brothers up. Instead of it didn't end on brawling. It ended with the Good Brothers taking out the champs. But all I wanted to make that differentiation.
Thought it was no contest.
A couple weeks ago, they did end with the brawl, because I remember I made it a point that where was securities and referees and the locker room to kind of help to break it up, make it more of a brawl. But this one, I think the business, the spotlight was to put quote unquote heat on the Good Brothers before they go into the show.
Meshed together when they're doing the same thing,
Yeah, it's true. And it was very reminiscent. It was started off the same way as we ended the show a couple weeks ago, but the only difference was it ended with the Good Brothers on top. So that was just, I think the business was to make it seem like the Good Brothers are going to be the champs come Bound for Glory.
And final thoughts on this match and the build up to Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory.
Big Doc Gallows got fucked over by the number 3 clear spray tan on his arms. I don't know what was going on there. His arms were brownish green. So
I have a story about them I want to ask you guys after.
And the bar up strong on that one. I was like, with Man Fulton. I've liked him and I want to see him get there. They had dude down in the corner, and the boots on him were so soft and full, like they were doing the choke in the corner, and they were not real. And then he takes the lariat over the top rope bump, come back, lands right on his feet, bends over, hits his head off of the apron, and then takes the bump. I was like, come on, dude, just land on your feet and then let dude dive there. That's where Motor City Machine Gun should have got their dive shit in. But a lot of that was like, whoop, wop, ding, dong, well, I'm here, down. And it just was so walked through, and the strikes didn't look real. A lot of stuff had air in it. And I've seen him do better. So hopefully he does this Saturday. Dude, it's all about ego Ethan Page. I mean, what a transformation from a bigger, thick guy to doughboy, back to muscle guy, and now lean as can be, and it looks like ready to take on the world. He gets it character-wise. Absolutely, he can connect. I've seen him do it on a bunch of indie shows. I think the North is one of the most underrated tag team properties. There's a couple things I'd like to see him tighten up and stop overbooking themselves, because they'll seem even better, But when Motor City Machine Guns comes in, I like those guys. They're nice guys, but I just don't. I've never seen the money there. I've never seen it, and for them to come in and face Gallows and Anderson or the North, it looks like those guys could just tear him apart. Same thing with Madman Fulton, and they don't fight like they're underneath David and Goliath baby faces. That's the biggest problem of it all. They just come in, get their shit in, and act like they're 6'4".
Friggin' Super Saiyan Goku in there, just throwing him around like it's an anime battle.
He gives Gallows a chop. He drills Carl Anderson, goes back, gives Gallows a chop. Gallows like sells for it, dude. He should have looked down and spiked him in the ground with a hammer fist, just dropped him to his knees. And again, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Those guys should know. If Gallows is in the ring, my job is to get tossed in the air like a pizza and eat fucking shit and just lay there.
Or tell the story of chopping down the tree and making it mean something.
Right. Working
together,
high, low, off the top, keep them fucking rocking.
Right.
So you finally get them down and then boom and get your shit in. But instead, they're fucking... Dude, he's going back and forth in the ping pong on fucking Good Brothers. I throw my hands up, bro. Maybe I got that wrong too. Who knows? Maybe I was seeing something.
Well, that was Impact Wrestling. Before we end the show,
we forgot the EC3 interview.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we end the show,
gotcha.
The actual wrestling portion. Then they did do a follow-up here with EC3 and Jimmy Jacobs throughout the night. So in each different segment, EC3 was, I guess, trying to maybe freak out Jimmy Jacobs a little bit. Jimmy Jacobs didn't have the best acting, in my opinion, in all of these scenes. There wasn't enough fear from his side. He was just kind of very blasé, I thought.
Oh, I've been kidnapped again.
Yeah, that's kind of okay.
My hair. Oh, at least. Do you guys have any hair product in it?
Yeah, I just got them, as I mentioned last week, I watched the Poughkeepsie tapes last week, and that actress did a great job of being freaked out when she was pretending to be, kidnapped. So I was expecting more, but EC3 does lay down the challenge, if you will, that, at first it was about, destroying the TNA title, but now it's more about changing his narrative and, bringing the best out of Moose, if you will. And he saw the best out of Moose last week. He saw the real Moose, not the amalgamide of different characters that he claims Moose is all conglomerated into one. So I thought this was decent. Interestingly enough, he also made his debut at Ring of Honor. I saw that as a story here on ProWrestling.com, and his promo there was very eerily similar about changing and controlling your narrative. So I don't know if both things are bleeding over, but that is kind of the character at least he's pushing forward with. Go ahead, Ted, if you wanted to give your thoughts now on the packages, if you will.
Yeah, so I'm still calling, like I said last week, I feel like they're going to eventually work towards some kind of alliance between EC3 and Moose. Almost seemed like EC3 was glad to see that fighting part of Moose come back at him. So maybe there'll be some kind of masochistic, tag team where they aren't afraid to even fight each other. Maybe like a modern day Fight Club or something like that. Which I don't hate. I think if they could even grow it out and add more people to it, and it could end up being a more organic and cooler concept, basically what they were trying to go for with Raw Underground, but actually make it work. Maybe burning the TNA title needs to happen so something new can arise. They kind of got my wheels turning. Maybe they're alluding to something with that. The only other part of it is on Bound for Glory, they kept saying the match is going to, or he said it's going to, we're going to fight in the narrative. So it almost made me wonder if they're going to do some kind of cinematic universe type match. But if so, and maybe this is me just overthinking it, because if not, then this doesn't matter. But if so, I felt like, one, they haven't done enough with EC3 to really educate the audience on how does he have the power to, warp time and space, kind of like how the Fiend can on WWE. But if he can, then this would have been a perfect opportunity to show that, because Jimmy Jacobs, I feel like as a character has enough history to where the smart fans, like, you could have played up like the history of Jimmy Jacobs, like the stuff he's done in the indies and who he was in the past, and then have him freak out at the end. And that's the last we see of Jimmy Jacobs for a while, because he's just an interviewer. We don't necessarily need him on constant weeks of television, and then that would have put over the match more. But maybe I'm off base. Maybe they aren't doing some kind of cinematic match, but I kind of got that vibe as well. So I know that was a lot to unpack, but those were my thoughts.
Ben? I
like EC3's delivery, no doubt about it. The controlling the narrative thing is only 60% value, or changing the narrative, right? Because if you change the narrative, sure, that's saying I want it's a dig at WWE or it's whatever for his shitty run there again. not his fault, really, of whatever they were trying to do with him in a condo. I don't know what the fuck that was even supposed to be. But if you change the narrative, you're still working for Impact and you're still working for Ring of Honor. And it's a narrative, but they're still deciding what it is. What does he really need above everything else? It's not a narrative.
Heat.
Creative control.
Oh.
He needs creative control. So he could be ECC3 if you wanted to, but it's not about the narrative. It's about controlling your own fate and destiny finally. And just changing a narrative still leaves it in somebody else's hands. Having control, total control, and what I say goes, because I'm not going through this shit anymore of depending on companies to get me over. I'm doing everything what I want to do. I've played this game for 15 years. No more. I've been proven as a draw, and then they put me on the shelf as a fuck you. Well, fuck you to all you guys, and fuck you to Moose too, because there wouldn't be no Moose without EC3. It's my time, my creative control. I'm not the heel John Cena you want me to be. I'm Ethan Carter III. Fuck it, I'm not even that. Say his shoot name if he wants to. You know, like his intensity is there. He's improvising a lot of those scenes where he knows where he's supposed to be and where he wants to go. I bet they did 5 or 6 takes and he said which one he likes, because none of that was scripted out to be like, you have to say all of this, you know? That's a guy who knows who his character is. Every time I see him, I think that, though. I go, how did WWE leave all this money on the table again? Your heel EC3 is right there. Cena could have made him. It could have been the torch pass. They didn't do nothing with him, bro. Nothing. And, you know, when he comes back and he gets to have a little bit of creative freedom to paint with his brushes, look at almost all that stuff we saw the first 6 weeks of this was probably all recorded in one day. He knows what he's doing. He knows where they're going. So I think it'll be a good payoff. I hope the match lives up to the creative. And if it's a cinematic match, then they'll definitely have the creative control to tell the story they want. If it's going to be in ring, they really better have it wired, because they've done a lot of cinematic buildup, and now the wrestling has to match that. Tough road to hoe.
To wrap up, just to kind of, because it is referencing Impact Wrestling stars, the big LG and Carl Anderson. Have you seen their recent gimmicks cartoon thing that they recently put out?
They slammed something about Enzo banging Steph.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, but then Enzo responds on it and tags some people like it was a real thing or some shit like that. So, you know, what's the real stooge on that? I don't know. But Enzo's selling for it, so he's in on it some way. And maybe he's just politicking to be in the Good Brother clique to come in and cut the shoot promos. So they already got something working on the side, I'm sure, you know, because
I think he's doing something with Talking Shop Mania. So it's probably has something to do with that. They're trying to create buzz, if you will, to get people to watch.
That's smart though. It's like, yeah, hey brother, we're gonna say on the internet that you bang Stephanie. Will you put it over? Yeah,
and she's not gonna come back and say no.
Right.
So right, she's not gonna sell for it.
Yeah, they aren't gonna address it. So yeah, I like it. It's funny. Why not?
Kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's just, instead of Hager doing it, it's Good Brothers, you know. So, and they're the guys who could definitely fire a lot of big fucking bullets. And that would be worth, if Khan wanted to go that war route, those two are good propaganda motherfuckers to do. We don't give a shit what we say, Briz. You know, that's their whole gimmick. Say the most foul shit. That's really who they are too.
All right, so that's Impact Wrestling, guys. We flew through that episode.
Yeah,
Ben,
recap. I got a lot to do today. I got no problem giving them a
quick. I'll show you all the last.
Give us,
this was. Did y'all see the after thing? I'll show y'all real quick.
Oh yeah.
Watch! That's not him! That's not. How do you know it's not him? Look at him! You woo! Again! Get the out of here! Sorry! Man, I love when Scott makes fun of those little guys, man. Those idiots. All right, hold on. Time out. All right. That is cool when I'm scared. You guys stole that. Oh, hold on a second. He's not lying.
And that's it.
That's excellent. Scott Steiner returns, baby.
I just like the too sweet, and he said, "Fuck you, you stole that shit." Good, strong.
Too sweet, man. Steiner ain't selling for nobody. Was that Dick Flair too? Good to see.
I think so. Yeah.
Might as well get my go, I guess. Well, not a sexy T-shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, go check out Ben Hamin on the latest episode of Get My Go. There's no reason why Jeff Lane should have more views than Ben Hamin, okay? Throwing down the gauntlet. Let's go check it out. Also, check out my custom-made Get My Go T-shirt that I have made. It's pretty fun. I'm just getting in on the antics there on the show. It's a good show. Go check out those guys and follow it, Get My Go. And there you go. I just wanted to rock this shirt.
We got to say big shout-out, congratulations to the War on Morons making it into the finals of the 6-star Star Search, taking on Boar Meets World in the finals here. So now all our producers.
Oh, what we're doing? Oh, wow. Okay.
What's that?
I didn't know we were doing that, but you make the calls, sir. Okay.
Yeah, right. They're the finalists, aren't they?
Well, I figured like they would just each get a fan vote, right, and then we would now vote.
That's
like
what
the whole
say is that now the producers get to vote, and then I get to vote. So pretty close as we come into the end of the month here in the next week. We'll have updates on that, but I just wanted to say, if you didn't know, it's Boar Meets World versus the War on Morons in the finals for the 6-star Hamin affiliate Star Search Infidels. So thank you very much to everybody who submitted a podcast, everybody who, even if you didn't make to the finals, there was a lot of great competition. It was tough narrowing it down. We had from 5, we had 8, and I was like, shit, let's rip Meltzer and go to 6 and give somebody else a shot. And they were all worthy. Everybody there has a chance to become an affiliate. And if we do this again, which I'm sure we will, don't let it dismay you if you weren't one of the final 2. And appreciate everybody on Twitter at Hamin Media Group, on Facebook voting. Where else did they get a hold of us on there, man? Were they at Discord? They were doing some stuff too. So
yeah, I mean, I had been telling people, I mean, you're the boss, but I had been telling people that, that would just get them a fan vote, that ultimately we would decide. But I mean, if you want to put it down to the final 2, then obviously you're.
I think the final 2.
Who's going to eliminate my wife like that, Ben?
Yeah.
See, I think so. Boar Meets World won the first round, and War and Morons won the second round. What if you were in a wrestling tournament and you lost and it was one round? You'd be like, how am I not in the fucking main event? Well, I think the math adds up.
That doesn't mean, though, that you won't eventually hear some of these other shows, though, on the second affiliate, because Rat Salad Review and War on Morons brought it with the most votes, guys, and the most interaction. So shout out to both brands.
We're going to give everybody who made it into the finals a shine. We're going to find a creative way. Your family not going to get left behind. Sergio and the vet, very happy with that. Obviously, I don't want to upset the women at WPMS and have them come.
You don't. Because I have to pay for it if they can pay for
it. And, the War on Morons, can they defeat the eternal suckhole that is Boy Meets World? We're going to find out.
Wait, I do have to ask, if Boy Meets World or Boar Meets World wins, does that mean, Ben, you're going to have to sit down and actually watch an episode of Boy Meets World to go and do a guest review on? I feel like that only makes sense if they're the championship winner of the 6-star Star Search, that the man himself, the CEO and owner of Hamin Media Group, needs to make an appearance. And of course, if you're going to make an appearance on the show, you're going to have to participate in the gimmick of the show. Mm-hmm. You got to do the business. The business is Boy Meets World.
Running down this world.
I'm just saying, I feel like if Boy Meets World wins, I think you're going to have to watch an episode.
Good to know that a friend will always stand by me.
Maybe this is going to undo all the hate you have for Boy Meets World. You're finally going to come around and realize it's your favorite show of all time. Even better than The Sopranos and The Wire.
You're going to probably get your go.
We're out of here. ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin. HackerHamin.podbean.com. Conspiracy Horseman, Twitch.tv. We'll be back 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Fucking boy.
Not happy.
Fucking world.